First we'll sing a few verses for Mangalarana, and everyone can sing with me, please. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chashuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Srimati Radharani Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Good timing. Vanchakodabhuvascha Kripasindhuvyeva-cha Patitanam-pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Srivas Anga. Give these gentlemen some papers. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
All together, please. Gauranga, Gauranga, bolo. Gauranga, 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 Gauranga.
Gauranga 𝗫𝗂𝗫 Gopalagadaratidam Yatisingha Gora Govinda Deshikavadam Satatam Namami Uttama Adhama Vichunamachya Jiya Jiya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste
Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste
Madhavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Judi Tadai Vishayustat Priyajana. Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Imam Vansha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri 𝗍𝗂𝗍 Srivas Anga Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I have a very difficult path in front of me because I'm used to having the translators. Because what we want to try to speak about today, and yesterday actually, is really a postgraduate subject matter. And I don't know how many of you have a bachelor's degree, have a fundamental understanding of all these things, which is really required. But I've seen that even though we don't understand something sometimes, somehow it comes to our heart. And that's our hope today, that it may come to my heart. So we started speaking yesterday about the kirtan of our Sampradaya. What is that kirtan? What is our Sampradaya? Why is it in our kirtan, our Sampradaya, we focus on the Hare Krishna Maha-mantra? Even though we've heard that Srimati Radharani is worshipable by Krishna, why don't we chant Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe? Why don't we chant like that some Vaishnavas do? Or if we understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Madhavananda avatar, the most merciful Lord, then why don't we chant his name? Or even better yet, chant the name of Nityananda. Because we mentioned yesterday, 𝗞𝗶𝗿𝗁 You chant the name of Nityananda and you feel great ecstasy. So then why do we have this Hare Krishna mantra? And there's 10 offenses with it. It's really complicated. Why don't we just chant Gauranga, Gauranga? Or just chant Nityananda? Or maybe better yet, we could chant Jana, because she's a consort of Nityananda Prabhu, and she's even more merciful. Or maybe even better yet, we could chant Jai Prabhupada or Jai Gurudev. But we're not part of the Jai Gurudev Sampradaya. What is the nature of our Sampradaya? And why do we stress this Hare Krishna mantra? These are very, very important questions that we should all have some understanding of. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one day, and while sitting amongst his devotees, he began to speak to him about the Sankirtan Yoga. I'm feeling very confused because this one song, literally we could speak on for a few months. It's such a vast thing, and I feel obligated to at least give some cursory understanding of it. But then it's going to be a little hard to go on to what I want to continue to. We'd also like to speak today, aside from why we chant Krishna's name, instead of his other names, and we're going to give just some little basic thing about each one of these points because there's so much to do. But also, what about Smarana? Some Vaishnavas, they say, oh, it's very nice, Prabhu, that you chant Hare Krishna. That's good. That's you're human. And you chant Hare Krishna. And maybe later, you'll come to the point of Smarana. Because Kirtan is for Vaidhi Bhakti. And Smarana is for Raganuga Bhakti. And some people even say there's a conflict between the two, because some people, they think, oh, I have to do kirtan, and _𝗏rana is illegal. It's very bad. We should not think about Krishna. It's okay to think about Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin, the news, but you can't think about Krishna. That's a little ridiculous. Please don't think about those other persons. Think about Krishna. But what is the connection between the two in the kirtan of our Sampradaya? So these are big subjects. Let's look over the song. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the first word that he says, 𝗫 Sankirtan Yajna. This is my Sankirtan Yajna. I don't know if I'm going to have enough hindsight to look back at this verse again, if you mark it. And if you mark it and you contemplate on it, as we continue, especially tomorrow, you'll find this line has more purport. It's my Sankirtan Yajna. And you should understand the mahima, the glory of it. Sarva Shastri Kai Ihar Mahima Karima. All the Shastras, they glorify the Sankirtan Yajna because it's Sarva Dharma Sar, a Sankirtan Dharma. This Sankirtan Yajna is the essence of all Dharma in Kali Yuga. Vishesha Jani Vi Kali Yuga E Karma. And especially, it's meant for the age of Kali. Gane Jai Korishe prabhu 𝗫𝗍. Anyone who chants Krishna's name, prabhu 𝗫𝗍, you'll get better grades in school and your mother will be very happy with you. If you start chanting. You'll get some intelligence, you'll get some enlightenment. Ganarupi Vedara Uchari Mahadoy. The Vedas will come to that person. Such an important thing. So how is it a yajna? And then Mahaprabhu goes on to explain that. Sabaloka Karna Garta Kunda Parisa. When you have a yajna, you have a kund, yajna kund. You have a spoon, a shrava, which pours the ghee. You have fire. You have ghee. So what are those elements in the Sankirtan Yajna? Sabaloka Karna Garta. The ears of all living entities, Sabalok. Karna means the ear. Karna Gata, Garta. Their ears are the sacrificial kun, Garta Kunda Parisar. Jiva Shrava. And the tongue of the devotees, that's the shrava, that's the spoon that we're pouring the ghee. Dhvani Rasa Grita Manohar. And what is the very nice ghee that we have? It's the sound of Krishna's name. This is the yajna for this age. And all these other fire yajnas, twisting fingers. What are they meant for at this age? They make some show. And people sometimes they throw money at the person who's doing that. And it's not entirely wasted, Jiva Goswami explains, because Krishna's names are there. Om Sahasra Sirsa Purusaha Sahasraksha Sahasravat Sabhuman Vishvato Vritya Atyatistада Sangulam Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama. This is Purusha Sukta. It has different names of the Lord. And this is meant for Vishnu and for no one else. So we hear that. We're hearing the name of Vishnu. There's some pleasure in that. But it's an indirect pleasure. And if we had maybe another week to this subject matter, we might speak about Gona and Mukta Nam, primary names and secondary names. The name of Vishnu is a secondary name. And we want to take shelter of the primary names. And why that is, and what they give, it's another vast subject. Read Harinam Chintana. So Mahaprabhu goes on and Antare pravishta bhava agni jwale. So when the spoon of your tongue pours the ghee of Krishna's name into the kund of your ear, then that ghee enters the heart. It's meant to enter the heart, not just the ear, not just stay on the outside. And if it only stays on the outside, then we're not really chanting, we're not really understanding the holy name. We're doing something religious. You're a very pious person. I offer my pranams to you very sincerely. But it's not the prema nam Sankirtan yajna of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It may be the Sankirtan yajna, but not the prema nam Sankirtan yajna that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, which is the kirtan of our Sampradaya. And so, when you take the ghee of the holy name in the spoon of your tongue and you pour it in the kund of your ear, then it goes to the heart. And in your heart, Agni Siksha, there's a fire there, the fire of bhakti. And what happens if you light a fire inside of your body? You can imagine, you start twitching because there's a fire inside of your body. It's very disturbing, right? You're sitting in the middle of school. Instead of doing like this, teachers have become very disturbed, chastise you, right? It's not practical. So, inside, antar siksha, pulaka, and then you start on the outside, pulakasru. Your bodily hairs stand on, then 𝗀𝗂𝗿, tears come to the eyes. Your body starts trembling. Sarva-papi mukta hoya. In this way, all the living entities become freed from sin. Because that sin is also there in your body. Some say you get it from your parents. Some say it's there from your previous karma. Both are true. You have that. It just says Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, when she rejected her father. How did she do that? How did she reject her father? She said, I don't like you anymore. I'm not going to see you ever again. I'm going away. She didn't say that. She had to give up her body because her body came from her father. We owe this to our parents. So to reject the father means to give up the body because that body has some pop in it. Sarva papi mukta hoya sarva janana. And then all the living entities, when they become free from that terrible weight of pop, of sin, they all start dancing very, very ecstatically. Solokyari muktitara piri pachi. And as they're dancing, some other personalities come down and they start dancing behind them. Solokyari, the different types of liberation. They're following along behind that devotee to serve that devotee because that devotee doesn't have to do anything else. He's definitely going to get liberation. Mukti tucha polohoy, nama basohoy. Chaitanya Charitamrita says that mukti, liberation, tucha polo. That's a very insignificant fruit of even namabas. Not a big deal. Ajamil was such a personality, doing all kinds of bad things. But he got liberation, mukti, by namabas. That's not such a big thing. That's not why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. That's not the kirtan of our Sampradaya. I want liberation. Please give me liberation. Give me liberation. Maybe give me a couple pieces of cake also. And we're not here to ask things from the Lord. But while the mukti, liberation, there's different types of liberation, running behind the devotees and dancing, kadachana deki, say nayanera koni, they don't even glance at them. They're not interested. They're not interested. Try to understand. We may not be in this position, none of us, including myself, but we should understand something about it. And Jiva Goswami and Bhakti Sandarbha says, even if you have a theoretical understanding of it, you can obtain it. But we should have some kind of understanding. Kadachana deki srinoya nirakoni. They don't even give a second glance. Nache bulaya Krishna rasa asudan. Instead, they're tasting Krishna Bhakti Ras. And oh, it's really nice. And they're dancing and dancing. And they don't have any time for this other nonsense. So who's there in that yajna? Say yajna, Vediya, Rahi Vaishnava Acharya. All the Vaishnava Acharyas are present there. This is the Kirtan of our Sampradaya. Srila Prabhupada once gave a lecture in Conway Hall in London. And in the middle of the lecture, all of a sudden he stopped. And he started singing, Narada Muni Vijay. And the devotees, and Prabhupada was very emotional. The devotees said, what's happening? And Prabhupada said, you didn't see? Narada Muni came to see what we're doing. All those Vaishnava Acharyas are present. Once in London, in the early days, Srila Prabhupada called for, probably Pradyumna. No, not Pradyumna. Called for one of his devotees and requested him, you make 2 vyasas. This big. One for Lord Brahma and one for Narada Muni, because they're coming regularly to the programs. We don't believe. We don't see. Because in America there's the show me state of Missouri. If I'm seeing is believing. If I don't see it with my eyes, I don't believe it. But it's there. And we can perceive it. You want some scientific explanation. Well, show me right now. How many scientists do we have in the room? Raise your hand. You're a scientist. How many scientists do we have here? Okay. I challenge you. Prove to me right now, right here, that H2O is water. That formula is water. Can you do it? You can't do it. You can't prove that to me. Now, you may say, well, if you come with me to the laboratory, and we have an electron microscope, and we can separate 2 atoms of hydrogen from an atom of oxygen, and we can see, we can combine them, and it becomes water. And I'll say, no, I want to see it now. You have to prove it to me. It's unreasonable. Anything scientific, you need to have the right situation. So we also have to have the right situation of our consciousness, of our heart. And we can perceive this. And so many great exalted personalities have told us about this. So Yajna Vedira Rahi Vaishnava Acharya. And that yajna, all the Vaishnava Acharyas are there. They're watching over. They're very, very pleased. They're so happy to see the residents of Den Haag chanting Hare Krishna. Wow, this is amazing. It's an historical thing. We haven't seen shit. They're coming from all over the universe, the Acharyas. Huh? And this yajna, Janibe, you should know, Kirtan Yaga Sarva Yajna Aga. This Sankirtan Yajna is the best of all different yajnas. Ihate Jamila Prema Mahadan. From this yajna, it's the greatest yajna because from this Jamila will give birth or will come about the great treasure of Krishna Prema. So, if you have a treasure, then who's in charge of that treasure? Ihara Grihasta Nityananda Avarana. Nityananda Prabhu. He's in charge of that treasure. That's very good. Because Lord Nityananda, Adosha Durasi Mora Prabhu Nityananda. The Nityananda Prabhu is Adosha Darshi. He doesn't see any fault. So I really want to call out to him because I have a lot of faults. You guys are all very pure, exalted personality. I'm sure you have no faults. But I have a lot of faults. And then there's no hope for me if I want to try to go and knock on the door and work something out with Yamaraj. He's got this guy who works for him named Chitragupta, and he writes everything down. And he's probably got an encyclopedia on me. All the terrible things that I've done. So if I try to reason with him, I'm in big trouble. The Yamadutas don't give any mercy. But Nityananda Prabhu, he doesn't see anyone's fault. So he's the personality who's guarding that treasure. Gadadhar Pandit Premera Grihini. And Gadadhar Pandit is the goddess who controls that ecstatic love, because giving some things away from him. Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani. And Krishna wanted to taste the love of Srimati Radharani. And so he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But who's in control of that love? Radharani's in control. And Radharani comes as Gadadhar Pandit and gives instruction to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how to taste that love. My dear Bhaktamani, my dear jewel-like devotees, you're so wonderful. There's so few people who want to come and hear about this subject matter. Only some very special persons. My dear Bhaktamani. Please understand the truth of this. And then he speaks about 𝗲𝗍𝗍. 𝗲𝗍𝗍 Gosai Amare Anina. So it's 𝗲𝗍𝗍 who brought me here, who called for me. Sankirtana Yagistapi Sudhira Hoya. Therefore, it's 𝗲𝗍𝗍 who is the Sankirtan Stapana. He's the person who established the Sankirtan movement. There's many things we could say about. Let's just touch on one thing. Who is 𝗲𝗍𝗍? 𝗲𝗍𝗍 is sometimes said to be Mahavishnu avatar. Now Mahavishnu is establishing the Kirtan of our Sampradaya, the Kirtan which Gadadhar Pandit is in control of the ecstasy of love for. Mahavishnu. But Mahavishnu has an important part, because it's Mahavishnu who gives a Yuga Dharma. So one aspect of it is a Yuga Dharma, but there's another aspect of Sadashiva. 𝗲𝗍𝗍 is both Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. And in particular Sadashiva, which aspect of Mahadev? You know, I wrote a magazine some years ago about Lord Shiva. We made two, actually. I like Lord Shiva. And one was about Shiva in Braj. We went all over Braj for about a month, riding on the back of trucks and hitchhiking. And we didn't have a lot of money. We were a little crazy and fanatical in the middle of the summer in Vrindavan. It was quite an interesting experience to collect different information. And one of the things we did, we went to the Mahant at Gopishwar Mahadev temple. And we found an interesting thing there, that Gopishwar Mahadev, on the day of 𝗲𝗍𝗍, the appearance day of 𝗲𝗍𝗍, it's a tradition in Braj that all the Mahants from all the different major temples, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, Gopinath, etc., they all come to have darshan of Gopishwar Mahadev, because Gopishwar Mahadev is considered to be 𝗲𝗍𝗍. And it's Gopishwar Mahadev who has access to the Rasa Lila. He has access to this aspect of Krishna Lila. And so 𝗲𝗍𝗍, he says, he brought me here, and he's the one who established this Sankirtan Yajna. And depending on the depth of your vision, whether you'd see that the Hare Krishna mantra is a Yuga Dharma prabhu, and we'll chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. That's great. Okay, that's Mahavishnu avatar. Or you might see Srimati Radharani's hand in this Kirtan of our Sampradaya, which is what we want to speak about tomorrow. And that indicates that 𝗲𝗍𝗍 is Gopishwar Mahadev. Srivas Anga Adi Bhaktigan, that Srivas Anga and other devotees, they're also helping the Sankirtan Yajna. Yajna-stapana. They're helping to establish it. Without the devotees, you cannot establish the Sankirtan Yajna. As we were quoting yesterday from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the song Ohi Vaishnava Thakur, which has so much depth. Every word, every verse there's so much depth in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, in this particular song especially. He says that 𝗖𝗂𝗿 𝗦𝗺𝗺 Harinama Sankirtani. I have no strength of my own. This has a deep purport to it. The Kirtan of our Sampradaya. When we hear something about this, how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Bhagavan, who's God himself, he has no strength on his own to do this Kirtan. And therefore, he requires our Sampradaya, the Kirtan of our Sampradaya. We'll come back to that. Ejagya Kali Kali Deha Bhari Ghari. So in this Kali Yuga, the Kirtan of our Sampradaya is the devotees. They go door to door. And some of the devotees today, Janaki Mahaprabhu told me they're going out for Harinam Sankirtan. This is the Kirtan of our Sampradaya. So we should go door to door to everyone's house. Taraka Shakala Loka Patitapama. And all the Patitapama, the most fallen persons, the holy name will deliver them. So we should understand something about this yajna. Some Vaishnavas, they recite, Prabhu taught me these prayers. They recite some different prayers before they chant japa. One of those verses is nama-kirtana, maha-yajna, 𝗂𝗿𝗦𝗺𝗱𝗆 Krishna Chaitanya Kritya nama-yajna samarpana. It's a samarpana mantra. Samarpana means to offer. It's a mantra that we offer our japa with. Or some Vaishnavas may offer the kirtan with. That this nama-yajna, nam-yajna is the maha-yajna. It's the great yajna for this age. 𝗂𝗿𝗦𝗺𝗱𝗆, it destroys the evils of Kali Yuga. And Krishna Chaitanya Kritya, it's very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is the point we want to come to today, tomorrow, to understand the Kirtan of our Sampradaya and what is the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and not just my desire. What is good for me, but what does he want? Because he said in the beginning of the song, Sankirtana Yajna, it's my Sankirtana Yajna. It's his Yajna. And that has a great depth to it. Because he's Krishna, trying to repay Srimati Radharani's love. That's the Kirtan of our Sampradaya. He's trying to do that thing, and he needs some help, because 𝗖𝗂𝗿 𝗦𝗺𝗺. He doesn't have strength on his own. He needs help from the devotees. Because Bhakti Stu Bhagavad Bhakti Sangena Parijayati. That we get bhakti from the devotees. So he's taking help from Gadadhar Pandit and others. So Krishna Chaitanya Kritya nama yajna samarpana. It is very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so I offer the Sankirtan Yajna to him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, on his commentary, in the first verse of Shikshastika, he explains that there's 7 flames to the Sankirtan Yajna. And in the Mundaka Upanishad, just a side thing, Kali Karali Chamano Javachan Sudlo, it described the 7 tongues of the sacrificial fire. And what each one of those tongues are, that's a little smart stuff. It's not so necessary for our discussion today. But similarly, the Sankirtan Yajna, there's 7 flames of the Sankirtan Yajna. 𝗫𝗿𝗁 and that's the first flame. It cleanses the mirror of your consciousness. 𝗫𝗿𝗁 bhavamaha nirvapanam. It puts out the fire of material existence. This is the nature of this fire yajna. So the first 2 flames, the first flame is it cleanses the mirror of your consciousness. If you have a mirror and it's dirty, you have to clean it. But what if it's got like old motor oil on it? Some really heavy things. It's very difficult to clean. And may take some time and some elbow grease. You have to really rub to get it off. So as you're cleaning that mirror, initially you can't see anything. This is our heart, which is so black with so many material desires and misconceptions. But as you start cleaning, you can kind of see, wow, there's a form. You can kind of see a head, some ears or something. You see some general outline. And Bhaktivinoda in one place explains it, that indicates our position in Varna and Ashram. We understand our material position first. And then as we keep cleaning, then we understand, who am I? What am I here for? So bhava mahadevagni-nivapanam, it destroys the forest fire of material existence. 𝗢𝗿𝗁 it's a lotus of good fortune, which we offer to the Lord, it's dedicated to the Lord. 𝗽𝗿𝗁. Hare Krishna gave a very beautiful series of talks on Shikshastika. We're not going into depth about this. It was very lightly touching. 𝗽𝗿𝗁. Each one of these words has so much purport. A general meaning is 𝗽𝗿𝗁. You understand your eternal form from the holy name. This first verse of Shikshastika contains the points of all the following 7 verses also. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. And in the Sankirtan Yajna, the 5th flame of the Sankirtan Yajna is that it increases the ocean of bliss and happiness. Sarva Snapanam. Sarva Atma Snapanam. It's completely pure. It purifies myself completely. Understand my Atma. Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtan. This Sankirtan Yajna is always purifying. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he would comment sometimes. He would say, we didn't come to this world to be construction workers, to be bricklayers or carpenters. We're just peons. We're carrying the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's our purpose, coming here. We want to build a temple, but as is described in the song Gauranga Karuna Koro, accredited in Thakur, he explains what kind of temple. Giving all respect to others. And therefore the author of the song is praying it. My dear Lord Gauranga, Gauranga Karuna Koro, Amidina Hinajani. I'm very, very fallen. I don't have anything. I'm very, very poor. In fact, Mahaprabhu, when they say, well, there's a lot of people who say that. And he said, no, my situation's a little different. Most of them, Patita Prabhu, Nahi Tripura, and all the 3 worlds. You won't find anyone as poor as myself. Right? So then perhaps Mahaprabhu says, okay, what do you want? And the author, it goes on. Dande Trina Dori Vora Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare Gita Koli calling out your name, 𝗀𝗂𝗿 𝗦𝗺𝗃 with strong, my teeth. And Mahaprabhu may say, okay, what do you want? Well, what do you think I want? I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. What do Hare Krishna devotees do? They build temples, right? We're in construction business. Right? And then he says, my temple that I want to build, a special temple. 𝗀𝗂𝗿 I want to build a temple in my heart. And in that temple, there's no economic problem. There's no problem getting someone to do the service, pujari, clean the temple, anything. There's no quarrels or disputes or anything. It's a very, very simple, wonderful temple. And unless I make that temple, what's the value of having a bigger temple? People will come, that's good, we want that. But in this Prema Nam Sankirtan, we want to build a temple in our heart. Right? It's not enough just to advertise that people. Jagannatha Pandit, he sings very sweetly. Gorada ami, muke bolila na chale. Gorada achara, gorada prachara, let's follow. So just running around and telling everybody, Gorada ami, I belong to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's not a proper thing. Gorada achara, gorada prachara. That person who has a behavior that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. That person is going and preaching, he gets the true fruit of being a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? This is in Chaitanya Bhagavat. I remember when I first met my Gauranga, I first came to him in Vancouver, Washington. We traveled with him. The next place we went to was Seattle, where I formerly been the temple president. And he gave a whole class and he was hammering me. At that time, my name was Nityananda Das. And he sang these verses. Hello, Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, now Krishna, now Krishna, 𝗀𝗂𝗿 𝗦𝗺𝗃 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. This is instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bola Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Gao Krishna Nam. You glorify Krishna, worship Krishna, chant Krishna's name. Krishna 𝗀𝗂𝗿. Don't think of anything other than Krishna. And it's okay. It's actually a practical thing. Maybe it's something that just comes a little bit when you start to get old. I don't know. But you realize, I had all these hopes to change the world, to do this and do that. And then I realized I can't do anything. Anything. All that I can do is try to please the Lord. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he said in one article that this is a symptom of someone who actually hears the holy name. Would you like to know what is a symptom? Am I actually hearing? He said someone who actually hears the holy name, it clears up the misconception that they're the controller of anyone else, or they're the reformer, that's the word he used. They're the reformer of any other person. And when we give up that abhiman, that pride, that I'm going to change the world, which is what every young person feels. I'm going to change it. And we should feel that. And I hope you do. But how do we accomplish that? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that when we simply submissively hear the holy name, it clears up that misconception that I'm the reformer of anyone else. And in that situation, then we can actually reform ourselves. And by reforming ourselves, then we can actually become an instrument of the Lord and reform the world. But all these other people can't do anything. As Srila Prabhupada once told the GBC, my favorite quotes, Prabhupada came into a GBC meeting one day and stood up, offered obeisances, and Prabhupada proclaimed to them, this chanting should go on. Instead of meetings, resolutions, dissolutions, revolutions, and no solutions, there should be chanting. So there's so, as John Lennon sang, we all want a revolution. You say you want a revolution. You better change yourself first. If we don't change ourselves first, it has no meaning. So then Mahaprabhu goes on to speak. Excuse me. Jadiyama pratisneha kesava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jadiyama pratisneha kesava. If you really love me, you love my instructions. My grandma quoted this verse and looked right at me and says, Nityananda, if you really love me, you love my instructions. Jadiyama pratisneha taki sabakar tabe Krishna yati rikta nagayi. And what is that instruction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us? Don't chant my name. Sometimes we chant Gauranga. We chant the but our primary kirtan of our Sampradaya is the names of Krishna, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed us like it. Now maybe tomorrow we'll speak something more in connection to this at the final conclusion about Srimati Radharani. But there's one answer that Mahaprabhu is telling us, don't chant my name, chant Krishna's name. And you may say, well, I have a better program than chanting Hare Krishna. I chant Gauranga. And there's no offense. It's fourth gear. You're going very quick, huh? But we have something even better than that, which is pleasing Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And these are Mahaprabhu's instructions. And they have great depth to them. It's not just that he's being humble and, oh, don't chant my name, chant Krishna's name. There's a purport to it, and we want to explore that. Come back to this tomorrow. And he says then, Kisayani, 𝗙𝗿𝗁 𝗙𝗿𝗁. Kisayani, while you're sleeping, you should chant. 𝗙𝗿𝗁. While you're eating, you should chant. Sometimes we're invited to take prasadam to the Gopinath temple. Highly recommend it. Many sadhus come there. The day Krishna Das Maharaj Mahat feeds so many different sadhus. And in the middle of the prasadam, it's quite common. Krishna, Krishna! They're calling out Krishna's name. And it's said by Bhaktivinoda Thakur that when you take prasadam, this is a very deep, important Hare Krishna principle, that you take prasadam up to the neck, kunti bhojana. Now the deep philosophical question, why do you stop at the neck? You leave a little room for chanting. That's why. Kisayani 𝗙𝗿𝗁 𝗙𝗿𝗁 Ahanisha Chinta Krishna Bhavana. Day and night you should chant. And as part of that chanting, Ahanisha Chinta Krishna. You're remembering Krishna. You're thinking of Krishna. You can't separate the two. It's a very, very important principle in the history of our movement. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, following the mood of Gaurkishore Das Babaji and Jagannath Das Babaji, who saw that the holy name was everything and spoke in a kind of demeaning way against smarana. and promoted the chanting of the holy name, following their move. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinoda Thakur established that all that's required is you chant. And all these things will come. Bhaktivinoda says in Harinam Chintamani, nama-kirtana 𝗙𝗂𝗍 that when the holy name blossoms, and that's what we want that holy name to blossom in our heart. We want to take that holy name that we've gotten from Gurudev, it enters into the kund of our ear and should come into our heart. And then we repeat it with the spoon of our tongue, and we pour it back, the ghee of that name, back in our ear. And we keep doing that, because the fire is practically dead, at least in this heart. There's no hope. But I keep doing that with some hope. If you keep putting some gasoline on the fire, sooner or later it's going to ignite, it's going to come up. So we should do this. This is our quality of our Sampradaya. Bhaktivinoda says that nama-kirtana 𝗙𝗂𝗍. That holy name will come naturally when it blossoms, prasvatita rupa guna karma. Krishna's form. We'll see Krishna. Because abhinatva nama namino. Krishna is not different from his name. Now, if you're trying to do some remembrance, it's a little difficult. Because maybe you just have some kalpana, some speculation. Just like we were speaking the other day to some of the devotees in Villa Vrindavan, that so you may say, I had a dream, and I saw Mother Yashoda. It was wonderful. And she was riding on a skateboard wearing a mini skirt with a black leather jacket, and Mother Yashoda was really hot. What? You have some kalpana, some speculation. And I may be convinced that, well, this is, I'm really doing this smart. Yes, I'm really, but what? It's coming from a contaminated body, and it's just speculation. But when you chant the name, nama-shreshtam, remember yesterday? The topmost name that I've gotten from my Gurudev, which comes with a conception, which I've acquired by rendering service to Gurudev. When I chant that name, then something comes to my heart. Haridas Thakur is not famous for doing 𝗙smarana. He just did nama-kirtana. And Madhavananda Thakur speaks about it. Kanda kanda 𝗙𝗂𝗍 𝗫𝗓 prabhu ani jane na hari hari nam. Hare Krishna. He got a complaint one day about Haridas Thakur, and he called for him. Hey, Haridas, what are you doing? I know your grandfather. He and I are very close. You come from a very good Muslim family. What are you doing hanging out with these Hare Krishna people, running around chanting and spoiling your good Muslim dharma? And Haridas, because I'm friends with your grandfather, I'll give you a chance. Just stop chanting Hare Krishna. Just stop it. And I'll forgive you. We'll forget all about it. You go back to reading the Quran, doing namaz every day. Everything will be okay. And Haridas Thakur said this. Kanda kanda 𝗙𝗂𝗍 𝗫𝗓. You may cut my body into hundreds of little pieces, but each and every piece will keep chanting Hare Krishna. You'll never stop me. I'll never give up the chanting of the holy name. He's Lord Brahman. He's the founder. He's the principal devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the principal example of someone who's chanting. Prayena vedatadidam namahajano yam debya vimohita 𝗫𝗏𝗍 vayalam Trayam jari kritam matir madhupushpitayam vatani ki mahati karmane yuja mana. In the Bhagavatam, it said that in different ages, different rishis were chanting the holy names of Krishna, not just in Kali Yuga. This is a verse from the 6th canto, chapter 3 of the Bhagavatam. It's not a new thing, chanting the holy name. But the problem was they didn't really have much faith. How many of you here, raise your hand, like to drink milk? Raise your hand. Pretty much all of us. Now, when you drink milk, how many of you think it's really a good thing there was some nice grass? How many of you think about grass? We drink milk, but we don't think about grass. The grass is really important. Without that grass, how are the cows going to make any milk? Sometimes, how many of you today here honestly thought, well, it's a really good thing there's oxygen that I can breathe, otherwise I'd be dead. How many of you thought about that today? There's some things which seem so common that we just take them for granted. But they're the most important things. If milk is important to you, grass is very important to you. If living in this body is important to you, oxygen is very, very important. But we don't think about it. We just take it for granted. And we think, similarly, in our non-bhajan, yeah, chanting Hare Krishna, that's okay. That's for neophyte devotees. But 𝗤smarana, that's the higher thing. Or twisting your fingers, or any number of things. Chanting 𝗙𝗂𝗿 𝗦𝗺, that's for high-class devotees. Sanskrit, this and that, that's for very high-class devotees. And the low-class devotees, they just chant Hare Krishna. That's all that they do. And we heard something yesterday from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, where he's saying those Dikshit devotees who had taken second initiation were actually inferior to the Harinam Ashray devotees, the devotees who had taken shelter of the holy name. He said because of those Dikshit devotees didn't have firm faith in the holy name. And the Harinam Ashray devotees were superior because they had firm faith in the holy name. We have that Diksha because we want to do Archana. And without Diksha, without Gayatri, you can't do Archana. But it's not the mantra in our movement. I don't want to say something to disturb anybody, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. Please don't mind. But do you know, Srila Prabhupada, to my knowledge, and I've researched this a lot, I've not found even one single example of either Srila Bhaktisiddhanta or Srila Prabhupada explaining the meaning of the Gayatri mantra to anyone. They gave it, but, and maybe some devotee asked him, probably a few asked Guru Maharaj, what does it mean? Prabhupada had the sheet, the translation, but he didn't stress the Gayatri mantra so much. Rather, the Gayatri mantra was something, as we see it in Bhakti Sundara Bhakti Chaitanya Charitamrita. The purpose of it is to help us to chant the holy name. But the chanting of the holy name is everything. And so there's different mantras for different ages. Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about this in Krishna Samhita. In Satya Yuga, Narayana Pada Veda, Narayana Pada Ksharaha, Narayana Pada Mukti, Narayana Pada Gataha. This is a mantra, the names for Satya Yuga, focusing on Lord Narayan and his opulence. And in Treta Yuga, the mantra Bhaktivinoda says was Rama Narayana Ananda Mukunda Madhusudana Krishna Keshava Kamsare Hare Vaikuntha Vamana. And these are mantras for Treta Yuga. They indicate the Lord's prowess. And Bhaktivinoda said that the devotees who chant this first verse, Narayana Para Veda, they have a relationship with the Lord in Shantaras, in awe and reverence. And maybe a little dasyaras, a little servitorship. And this verse, Rama Narayana Ananda Mukunda Madhusudana, Bhaktivinoda says this is a verse for persons in dasyaras with a reflection of sakyaras. And the names for Dwapara Yuga, Hare Murare 𝗤𝗖𝗍 Gopala Govinda Mukunda Sore Yagesha Narayana Krishna Vishnu Virashraya Mam Jagadisha Raksha. That's the Taraka Nam for Dwapara Yuga, the names which will deliver one in Dwapara Yuga. And persons who chant that, Bhaktivinoda says they have a relationship in Shanta, Dasya, Satya, or Vatsalya Ras. And what is a mantra for the age of Kali, Bhaktivinoda explains. You may have heard it before. If you studied with me, you've heard it before. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Bhaktivinoda says that these are the topmost sweet names of the Lord. There's no prayer in this mantra. There's nothing for ourself. And he says that these names are a mantra for persons who are on the path of Madhurja Ras. So this is a kirtan of our Sampradaya. It has to do with this Madhurja Ras and this chanting. So I wanted to say a little something also. Maybe we'll skip that. About the 𝗲rana. Because devotees become a little confused. Srila Prabhupada, when devotees went to went to Vrindavan first, some of them had gone to Radhakund, and they associated with some of the Babajis there. And some of those personalities told them, look, you guys are doing it all wrong. It's okay, this chanting, that's for kindergarten kids. That's for beginners. But the real thing is lila-smarana. You should be meditating on the Lord's pastime. And the devotees became a little confused. And Prabhupada told them, don't associate with those people. I'd like to read you something from Prabhupada's Krishna book. It's not that 𝗲rana is bad. We heard several quotes from Prabhupada already today, that the 𝗲rana is wanted. This is the life of everything. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, it said that there's a verse, it's not coming to mind, that we should chant. And what is it? That chanting, what is that chanting? That chanting means 𝗲rana krandana. That's the last two words in the verse. 𝗲rana krandana. That we should be remembering the Lord and we should be crying. Bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga dana. The bhakti is the greatest wealth. Why are you running here and there trying to collect money? Bhakti is a real wealth. You're not going to be able to keep your fancy nice car or your helicopter or your house or whatever things we would acquire. You won't be able to keep those things. But this is a treasure you'll always keep. But we're so unfortunate. We're so durbhagya that we don't have enough intelligence to want that thing. Instead, we want to get degrees and we want money and we want this thing and that thing. And we work just for these temporary things and we never strive for the eternal thing. So bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga dana. Bhakti is a real wealth. Bhakti, okay, what is bhakti? Bhakti a Krishna nama. Bhakti is Krishna's name. But 𝗲rana krandana. Chanting Krishna's name, remembering Krishna, and crying. You can't separate one from the other. And if you try to separate it and just do some mechanical meditation, it's kolpa. It's just some imagination on your part. Now, Prabhupada, in Krishna book, chapter 46, he speaks a very beautiful thing. Listen, he says, since Krishna had departed from Vrindavan and gone to Mathura, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, the gopis, and the cowherd boys were simply thinking of Krishna at every step. They were thinking, here, Krishna was playing in this way. Here, Krishna was blowing his flute. Krishna was joking with us in this way, and Krishna was embracing us like this. This is called lila-smarana. And it is a process of association with Krishna most recommended by great devotees. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he was at Puri, enjoyed lila-smarana association with Krishna. Those in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering his pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a transcendental literary work entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full with Krishna's pastimes. Exalted devotees remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. Any book of Krishna, really, even this book, Krishna, or our teachings of Lord Chaitanya, is actually solace for devotees feeling separation from Krishna. So this is wanted. The chanting by itself is not sufficient. We also want to be able to think about Krishna. But how do we do that? Yesterday we were speaking about how Krishna Katha is the Sarup Shakti of Krishna Nama. And just as you don't separate Krishna from Radha, you can't separate Krishna Kirtan from Krishna Katha. Krishna Kirtan is Krishna. Krishna Katha is Radha, because Krishna Katha is that thing by which we understand Krishna Kirtan, by which we come closer to Krishna Kirtan, and that's the mood of Srimati Radharani. So, by that we'll remember Krishna, by hearing that Krishna Katha. This is nama-kirtana. As we spoke yesterday, Jiva Goswami said there's two types of names. Does anybody, you get extra points. Does anybody remember one of the types of chanting that Jiva Goswami speaks about in his Pramasandarbha commentary in 6th Canto Bhagavatam? Kezhavanam. Very good, thank you. Kezhavanam means common name. It's in the dictionary. Everybody's chanting it. Right? And second? Sneha Samyuktanam. Chanting with affection. And so what does that chanting with affection mean? I stick my finger in the electrical outlet. You think I'll get that Sneha Samyuktanam? How do I get it anyway? How do you do that? You get initiated and Gurudev puts his hand in your head and says, now you got it. Thank you. No, by hearing Krishna Katha from Gurudev and understanding what's close to his heart, by hearing that Krishna Katha that comes to our heart, and then we understand, oh, Krishna's a person. I started chanting Hare Krishna in 1977, something, and I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know who Krishna was, or anything. I didn't know he was a person. It was just a mantra that we chanted. It wasn't until I came in touch with the devotees and I understood something from Srila Prabhupada, who Krishna is. And then when you come in touch with Guru, and you serve Guru, Shusho Shuddhana Sheva Sudeva Kataruchi Samaha Selaya Vipra Punya Tirthana Sevana. We serve Gurudev submissively by chanting. Then we get that Kataruchi. That Kataruchi is the beginning of our spiritual life. It's required. And if you're not getting that Kataruchi, if you're not hearing Krishna Katha, you may be doing a lot of Krishna Kirtan. That's very good. We spoke about that yesterday. That's Bhakti, Unmukhi, Sukriti. If you're chanting without initiation from Guru, that's a nice thing. But we want that conception. That conception comes by serving. If we don't have that Guru, then we should cry and cry in our heart, break our head. Krishna, please send me. It's not an institutional thing that, oh, you've been here this long and now we put your name on the list and you can get initiated now in our Bodhisattva. Who should I get initiated from? I don't know. There's a website to look at all their pictures and pick which one you like, which guru you like. It's not a question like that. Would you get married like that? And this is not just in one life. This is Janmi, Prabhu said. This is birth after birth. We're with Gurudev. So I want to be very, very careful. Guru, that's something which comes from the heart. And it's a whole other discussion too. We made a little booklet called How to Find Guru, which different quotes from my Guru Maharaj, and also from Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So this smarana is not a bad thing. It's wanted, but it comes naturally when we hear Krishna Katha. Prabhupada speaks about this in one purport, 4th Canto, chapter 8, text 44. Anybody taking notes? He says, if one goes on chanting the holy names of the Lord, which are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, naturally his mind becomes absorbed in God, the Lord. We're doing it, and we have some understanding of the position of Krishna's names and how Krishna is none different from his name. It's said that there's one Siddha Mahatma, famous Vaishnava in Vrindavan. Still, if you go in some shops, you'll see his picture. He's not in our line. His name was 𝗫𝗿𝗍 Babaji. But he made a very nice comment. He was a contemporary Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And he used to say that if you want to practice smarana, first of all, you have to come to the point of marana, death. If you want to have remembrance, first of all, you have to die. It doesn't mean you have to leave your body. They'll get really angry with me here if anybody tries that, please don't. But what it means is that materially, we're dead. We're no longer interested in all the news and all the things in the office and this and that. We're dead to that. And when we're dead to that, it doesn't mean anything to us anymore. Then naturally, we can practice smarana. So, now here we go. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he wrote in one letter to one of his disciples. I have all the Bengali here. It's about 1 page long in Bengali. It's really long. Apnara 24, 𝗫𝗿𝗍 𝗦𝗺 𝗫𝗿𝗍. He said, I've gotten your letter on the 24th. And he says, this Asta Kaliya Lila. Asta Kaliya, Asta means 8, Kaliya Lila. This meditation on the eightfold pastimes of the Lord during the day, which you've heard about from Vaishnavas in Vrindavan, should be highly regarded, no doubt. It's a good thing. Don't ever be ridiculous and belittle smarana or belittle any process of devotional service. But the way in which these pastimes are conceived of in the contaminated state is totally corrupt. If we try to artificially practice smarana, when I'm still contaminated, I'm still anartha-yukta-vasta, I still have anarthas in my heart, then it's just going to be, I'll start thinking about something and I'll have a dream and see Mother Yashoda on a skateboard with a miniskirt or some crazy thing. Some fortunate individuals are capable of knowing these things after chanting for a long time. For that is the identity of the true self, but it can only be known after one is freed of material contaminations. It can only be known after you're free from material contaminations, because otherwise you're going to fall prey to kalpana. Kalpana means some imagination. I'm seeing like this, I think Krishna, I saw a picture of Krishna painted by Pushkar, and Krishna looks like that. That's my mental image, which is based on my conditioning. Bhaktisiddhanta goes on. With the awakening of the spiritual identity, one automatically has constant cognition of the spiritual form. Those who say that they can teach and reveal this identity are practicing a kind of deception, cheating. It cannot be done. On the other hand, if a devotee receives some inspiration after sincerely chanting for a long time, he should go to the Sadguru or advanced devotees and ask for it to be confirmed and purified by them. The spiritual identity has 11 aspects, 𝗫𝗿𝗍. There are many cases of unscrupulous gurus who artificially force-feed these designations on unqualified practitioners. But we cannot call this mark the mark of spiritual perfection. I know some devotees who went to one prominent Babaji, who was a great saint. I had his darshan a couple of times. He passed away a few years ago, who Gandhi him for Siddha Pranali. Siddha Pranali means to get their Siddha Deha. And it's 𝗫𝗿𝗍, there's 11 different aspects of it. We gave some classes about this when we spoke from Prem Bhakti Chandrika. You could look those up online if you want to see more details about all these different features. We're just touching on it right now. But he gave them this Siddha Deha. It's 11 different aspects. This is your name, this is what you are. You're a gopi or a manjari. Your skin color is like this. You wear this kind of cloth. You do this kind of service. Your husband's name is this. You live in this village. 11 different aspects that they meditate on. They told them, don't tell this to anyone else. It's very secret. Now they're Western devotees. Right? So they went back to the ashram with their other Western friends who had also got initiation, the same kind of initiation from the same person. And what do? What's your name? What's your spirit? And they said, wait a minute, that's what he told me. And others said, yeah, he told me the same thing too. So they went back to him and said, Maharaj, there's 5 of us here. You told us all the same thing. You gave us all the same Siddha Pranali. And he didn't say. Later he told one of the devotees close to him, they just want a toy. Right? Mothers know. When a child wants a toy, you just give them something. Give them any kind of thing. Keep them out of trouble. They just want a toy. But if you study the history, I spent some time at Radharani. I know some sadhus there. We've been there for 30, 40 years. One sadhu friend of mine, he does 2 Govardhan Kirtans every day. Chants like 2 lakhs a day. And he commented to me that if you speak to the really old sadhus there, 50 years ago, they wouldn't give Siddha Pranali to anyone unless they at least were chanting 64 rounds a day for maybe 20 years or something. Then they might. But now we've got devotees coming and just right away they're giving them something. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wasn't very impressed with unscrupulous gurus who artificially force-feed these designations on unqualified practitioners. Those who've achieved the perfection of being fixed in their spiritual identity, Sarup Siddhi, have attained such a realization through internal revelation, and spiritual master's only involvement in these matters is to help the further advancement of the disciple. As a practitioner progresses towards spiritual perfection, all these things are revealed naturally within the heart. And Bhaktisiddhanta goes on to speak about the holy name. Jayate 𝗢𝗙 that we should constantly pray to the holy name for mercy. 𝗢𝗿 𝗦𝗺𝗀𝗃 if we're still in a contaminated state, Astakala lila-smarana prabhu anartha bhukta avastakritya nahi, then we should not try to do smara if we're still in a contaminated state. When we engage in chanting the holy names, he said, then simultaneously we're engaged in hearing. And the opportunity for remembering is included in that. One should not engage in astakali or lila-smarana on false premises. He goes on. Srinama grahana korite anartha apasarita hoila Srinama rupa gua alila apana hoite spurti hoibe. If you're taking the holy name, Srinam grahana, then there's no point in artificially, and that word artificial is really important, to try to artificially remember the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes. Because the Lord and his name are one. And Bhaktisiddhanta says that this will be understood when the coverings in our hearts are removed. And then by chanting without offenses, Chesta Korya Kritam Bhavi Rupa Guna lila-smarana Korite Hoibena, you will realize all perfections come from chanting the holy name. There's so many discussions on this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Bhajan Rahasya says, Adhikarana labhya siddhadeha bhavi. Someone without adhikar, without qualification, tries to do this kind of smarana. They'll become spoiled, they'll become ruined. And Bhaktivinoda says that it comes naturally with the chanting of the holy name. And this is a point, I have pages and pages of quotes here about this. But we should also hear this from Jagannath Das Babaji, very famous Babaji, not a preacher. But Jagannath Das Babaji said that artificial remembrance is not the way of the Rupanugas, or the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. It's not our program, artificial remembrance. Now, it sounds like a bad word, artificial, remember, you're doing artificially. But what does it mean, artificial? Prabhupada uses that word, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is using that word, 𝗫𝗿𝗍 Babaji is using that word. What does it mean? Artificial means when I'm trying to imagine something on my own from my mental construct. And, okay, Krishna's blue, let me, see, there's a blue balloon right there. Is he blue like that? No, maybe he's more blue like the Mridanga here, with a little more black. And maybe I look at different colors, like Krishari, maybe he's black like that. And I'll put this thing and that thing together, and it's a mental construct, like you're constructing a building. But all the materials that I'm using are speculation. The speculation of a conditioned soul. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda says it should be natural, not artificial. He says it'll blossom. The holy name will reveal all those things on its own. It's not required. This is the line of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of Gauranga Babaji, of Jagannath Das Babaji. This is the Kirtan of our Sampradaya. But there's been people for many years who want to promote these other ideas, that all this chanting Hare Krishna, that's for kindergarten children. Now, if you're really serious, you should come with me, and for a low, low price. I can teach you about this thing or that thing, and you can have some satisfaction of being a higher person. I heard one devotee who was initiated by a very nice Vaishnava in our ISKCON society. And the devotee was very learned in Sanskrit and he started reading different things and associating with different persons and feeling dissatisfied. Why? Where's the Bhava coming? Where's the Brahmanuga coming from? Just all this institution stuff, and I can understand that. We all feel some pain sometimes with the institution, mechanical kind of things. And so he's reading, and he started preaching to devotees. I have a system. And very quickly, if you've been chanting Hare Krishna for 5 or 10 or 15, 20 years, and you're still not crying and seeing Krishna, you come with me and I'll teach. And he left. He left ISKCON, started preaching like this to a number of people. And sadly, I don't know where he is today. I don't know if he's even practicing, but I know of some of the persons who followed him. They became very disappointed. First they were excited, wow, we got some new program. Because that's what everybody does. When you want to promote yourself as an exalted person, then you have a new practice, a new process of sadhana. You come, nobody else has understood this, only I have understood this. And you come and you promote something like the chanting of Guru's name, or the chanting of Gauranga, the chanting of Nityananda, or the 𝗤marana thing. And indirectly what you're saying is I'm better than my Guru, I'm better than Srila Prabhupada. And what they were getting is a secondary thing. And for many years there have been devotees who attacked Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's movement, trying to claim that no, you're not doing enough, you have to be doing this kind of 𝗤marana and that. So this is something he spoke about quite a bit. And Jagannath Das Babaji, who said again, artificial remembrance is not the way of the Rupa Nugas, or the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Artificial remembrance is not the way. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. Right? Nothing wrong. We should remember, as Prabhupada said in Krishna book. It's important, we should remember, but it will come naturally. Srila Prabhupada said, just like a young girl, she wants to have a baby. And so she gets married, and she's been married for 15 minutes, and she says, where's the baby? I've been married for 15 minutes now. Where's the baby? I want the baby. It takes some time. You have to come close to the husband. If you get pregnant, it may take you a few years or something. You have to have some patience, and therefore Rupa Goswami says that utsaha nishchaya dharya. We should be enthusiastic, utsaha, but we should also be patient and have confidence. It's an important thing, and have faith in our Gurudev. Now, if you've gone to some other guru who's stressing 𝗤marana, that's okay. That's fine. I personally have no problem with it. That's their line. But in the line of Srila Prabhupada, and the line of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, we don't appreciate this kalpana. this imagination. But it's something which should come in a natural way. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, I think. There's so many things, and many things. Anybody have any other comments or questions? I told you this is going to be a little postgraduate kind of discussion, because I know maybe some of these things are not even things that you're thinking about. And you may be thinking to yourself, why is he talking about all this? I just want to take care of my children and go to work, and on the weekends I come and I chant and I'm happy, and what do I need all this other stuff for? But we do need it, just like when you go to the university, it's a common thing with the professors. The first day, they blow your mind. And you go to the school, and many of the students are thinking, I know about this subject. Maybe I'll teach the professor a thing or two. And you go in there, and they say all this really higher stuff which you're not yet ready for. And it just blows your mind. But there's a benefit to that. My grandmas did that to us a number of times. There's a benefit to that. Because then you realize, first of all, I really don't know anything. And secondly, there's things I need to learn. I need to progress. I can't just be satisfied where I'm at now. And thirdly, there's things which are coming up. There's signs on the road, up ahead there's a curve coming. The road is slippery, the road is washed out up ahead. We have signs which warn us what's coming up. So this is also like that. So anybody with any reflections, comments, questions? Anybody understand anything about this?
I was thinking too,
Just wait a second, you're speaking. Hold the mic close to your mouth, please. Yesterday, somebody's complained.
I was thinking while chanting, this Shravanam and Kirtanam, they are intertwined. But it also seems to be the case with Smaranam. Because at some time the mind will just fight with you. It will have to focus on something. So we are taught some kathas, and we tend to remember those. But what is wrong in that? I mean, it seems something. No, I mean, it seems something natural, although it's not our natural position. But to remember spiritual activities. That's what I'm trying to grasp. How
in
not natural.
In Jagannath Puri, for many of the festivals, like for Janmashtami, they put on, in the temple as part of the puja, they put on kind of dramas. And one person dresses up like Kamsa, somebody dresses up like Vasudev, and this and this. And what is the benefit of that? The common people, when they see that, they think, oh, this is Krishna. Krishna's this little baby. They identify with it. And then when they hear Krishna's name, what do they think? They think, oh, I saw that little baby. And that's like Krishna. So we want to have something. We want some Hare Krishna. We need to fill up something in the garage. We need to have some kind of conception. And in the beginning, definitely. So many thoughts may come to us. I hope you don't think of Mother Yashoda on a skateboard. But you may have so many different thoughts and ideas in the beginning which are contaminated or not fully pure. But still, it's not bad. An interesting thing I've learned from Indra Maharaj, which I would highly recommend. A lot of times he speaks to the small children, kids who are like 4 or 5 years old, and he asks them, do you ever dream about Krishna? You should try this. I don't know, something happens. I think when they get a little older, they forget about those dreams maybe and that. But so many children have amazing dreams about Krishna, and they're so simple. It's not, they're not trying to become famous or something to get some prestige or something by telling people about their dream. It's just a natural thing. So it should be natural. And it can come if we're very, very simple. But that's a whole other subject also. We made one issue of our Bendu magazine called 𝗙𝗿𝗍. And that's also very important principle of bhakti. We should hide our realizations, hide our budget, and not advertise cheaply to everyone. So my thought in response to your common question is that it's a natural thing. No, it's not completely pure, but it's something. And even maybe all of us have a dream once in a while about Krishna or about Prabhupada. And maybe it's not exactly Prabhupada or maybe exactly Krishna, but isn't it much better to dream about that than to dream about some rock and roll show or this or that? Had some conception about Krishna. We have something. And that may be a boss. A boss means a reflection of something. But accordingly, when our heart becomes pure enough, this is where we find Krishna, because I very much comments on this, that when Krishna wants to see himself, he needs a mirror. But what kind of mirror can reflect Krishna and Krishna's beauty? It has to be the the pure heart of his dear devotee, Srimati Radharani. He can see himself in there. And therefore, 𝗙𝗿 𝗦 this darpana of our heart, we want to purify it so that Krishna will come and he can manifest there and we can really see him in a genuine way. That will take some time, but I wouldn't beat myself over the head if I'm thinking of Krishna. Maybe Krishna looks like a G.I. Joe toy figure or something, but at least I'm thinking Krishna's name or something. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? It's very, very important. We want to create community, and I know that's a big reason why a lot of you are here. I see that amongst a lot of Deshi devotees. Kind of confusing who's a Deshi, who's a Videshi these days. But amongst devotees who are from India, let's just call it, say that. I've seen in the United States and different places in Europe and things, they want to preserve the culture that they grew up with, the culture in Bharat, India. And so they want some community. But our community is not going to be enough if we just come together for religious purposes. We need some inspiration. We need to have some deeper Hare Katha and understand why we're doing what we're doing. And that Krishna Katha, as we spoke yesterday, Hare lila-smarana, that Hare Katha will create community. It'll create unity, because community means common unity. That place where we all have a similar understanding. But if there's no philosophy, if there's no Krishna Katha, then where's the unity? Then the chanting becomes a religious aspect. It becomes 𝗙𝗿𝗁, just some common chanting that everybody's doing. It's not sneha samyuktanam. We need to hear about Krishna. Satam prasanga mama viryasamvido. Lord 𝗞𝗿𝗍 tells his mother, Satam prasanga mama viryasamvido. The devotees come together and they speak about mama samavirya, my glories, my heroic activities. And it's interesting that the word satam prasanga, we have the phrase satsanga. What is the difference between satsanga and satam prasanga? Sat prasanga, satsanga. It's the same thing. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, in Sarita Darshini, he explains the difference. He says, first of all, what is satsanga? Satsanga means being with people who are honest, who don't tell lies, who act according to Varna and Ashram, who respect their parents, who take care of their children, who make sure their children get a nice education, and who behave in a religious, godly way. That's satsanga, to associate with such people. So then what is satam prasanga? The prefix pra before the word Sangha, Vishwanath explains, the prefix pra indicates something more than just being honest and being a good person and following Varnashram Dharma and taking care of children, respecting the parents, doing all these things. Prasanga, he says, means directly hearing Krishna Katha. We want, and Mamavirya Samvido, Bhavanti Ritkarna, Rasayana, that's Rasayana Katha. It gives us life. The Dosnat Asava Varga Vartmani, Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Nukramishya. And from that kind of katha will come Shraddha Ratir Bhakti. And we'll have faith, we'll have some taste, and we'll get bhakti. Vishwanath explains it means also Vaidhi Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. Those things will come by proper association. So what you're all doing here, it's not just a social event that we come together. Maybe it is for some of us, it's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but make it into something more. Prasanga, not just satsanga. Okay? Anybody else with anything? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and take some prasad. Yes, Aniguru?
More kirtan?
More kirtan?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's complete the sandwich.
Sandwich. Rama Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna